Everyone. This video presents a structured analysis of credit risk dataset using Excel tools, statistic testing, and dashboard visualization. I will walk through the data, highlight the key findings, explain how insights were developed to support decision making. This dataset focuses on credit profiles and includes variables related to lending performance. It contains both numerical data and such as interest rate and other percentages and balances, category data, and such as loan segment. This combination allows us to analyze both financial performance and risk behavior across the customers. The first analysis we did was data statistics analyzing, and three categories we chose was interest rates, delinquencies, late payment, and provisions. And for provisions are interpreted three different sections and are wrote down here. But for this presentation, I'll be focusing on mean and a medium for provision for bad debt. The mean and the medium are very close, around $13 million for the mean, and the medium is $12.1 million. And this shows us is a balanced distribution. This suggests that the data is not heavily skewed, and a typical provision level is approximately 12 $12.5 million. And if you look here, it's no more, so it's not like exactly 12.5 million for everywhere. So it's a coverage. Next analytic we did was used Excel formulas to make questions up and answer them. First one I used was sum and sum if. The total provision is roughly $2.1 billion, and then I used some of, if you look at UK, Asia, we did a breakdown, and it shows you UK as using color conditioning format. Is the highest risk, like $320 million. Green is the lowest risk, orange is medium, and red is the highest risk. Next thing we did was count and unique. Basically, find out how many lenders are there using a formula of 6, and here's a lender names, unique name. Then I used the average formula to find out the average interest rate, 9.6, and according to online IMF is recommended 8%, so we're making a good profit margin. Next, maximum delinquency we ever charged was 10.89%, and according to online information I got, the Mortgage Banker Association, according to US, it's recommended the late payment should be maximum for a creditor's 4.26 or under. Any more is your risk of having too much bad debt on your books. And using CountF, we found out we have 71 accounts with bad debt. But using the average formula, our average delinquency rate is 4%. Then using F formulas and a FS, we found out it's still low risk because we're under 4.26. Then we did lookup to find out the minimum average balance and maximum the name of the lender. So it's not just using formulas to get numbers, you could get data also, and we got name here. Next thing I did was a different now part 3 of our analytics. I created a chart, a histogram chart here, and histogram chart was interest rate. It shows you this nice visualization instead of just numbers. That our is 12% mainly visualization, but is evenly spread out from higher and lower. Like second is 8%, 42 is, and for this 16%, 51. It's not like our middle is 12%, then way out of nowhere 24% or another number is evenly spread out the figures. Next, I did I created another visualization, a box plot analysis of pricing, our interest rate, and our credit loss, our written off bad debt. And I'm also analyzer here if you want to read. But basically, just look at this box shot. You don't have to look at the numbers, just nice bright colors. You can see the interest rate is good profit margin and a big space here. So our win is not, it's not like we are losing lots of money, bad debt, but our interest rate is a bigger box because we our interest we charge is lots more variable, but our bad debt being written off is concentrated at a certain percentage level, so you know roughly what level is compared to that, and it shows us we have a tight control of our bad debt. That's the easiest way. This and box plot on Instagram don't need to look at the numbers. You could just look at the pictures and analyze the data visually. Next, we did a t-test. T-test is basically working out the error rate using the same as the first, analyzing information, delinquency, late payments, and we got mean, all that stuff again, using the mean and the standard error to work out is our information correct, how much error is there. Is a real, basically, it's a real life or it is a chance of error, and we and ours fail to each the hypothesis no. Basically, sometimes it's just a one-off error, like the numbers are incorrect, but ours. Now, moving on, we went to identify outliers using z-scores. This is mainly for anomalies or one-off things. We used mean and standard deviation here. If it's more than 2, it's a moderate risk. If it's more than 3, it's extreme. I also created new columns. When I create a new column, I usually highlight it in yellow. This shows all under 2, so always has no anomalies. Anomalies could be number of things, one off special event, or a fraud, and we should keep an eye on it because it is outlier, is not consistent with our normal data. Now, moving on from this, I'd just like to show you this is our current table and it's 167 rows. I updated it to our new table through Power Query and merged it. There's only 155 tables now in rows because some might have like 2 3 areas, and I just merged the data, like it could be Asia 23 24, or just merge the data into one correct updated version. So it's instead of 3 4 different places, just one, how much total we owe, and also made other data validations. Basically, like all the percentages 0 to 30 shouldn't be like 150% interest rate or more than 100% of anything. So kind of go over that, and the years should be 2022 to 2026. It shouldn't be like 2030. That hasn't happened yet. So I cleaned it up. Our data and our table, and also added three new columns of yellow ones. The first one is price covering ratio. Basically, that's interest rate minus the delinquency, how much actual profit percentage. Then this is accounts and average balance. So basically, how many accounts and average balance on them accounts. So I just timed it to find out roughly like how much is actually we sent to UK. It's not just the average balance of each account. Then divided that by the provision to find out how much money percentage wise we have to put aside for this, for our rainy day or bad day. Next we did was pivot tables. First one is just highest credit risk. Basically average delinquencies and written off bad debt. You can see you don't want like more written off bad debt and delinquencies, but you don't want any of them. Them secured loans versus unsecured loans, like price coverings. So basically we want to know how much good profit, like that one's unsecured loan is very bad debt wise. SME. So we want good profit. Them is lender solvency. This is total money we give to peak capital and its average exposure rate. Why it has so money put aside for a rainy day when according to Bank of England should be 25%, and that's right, they tend to cover more and more. Have they give someone bad debt or they have been just conservative, don't want to give debt money out, should be like 25%. Then added average interest rate and average charge off. Basically is showing a correlation over the years. Basically when the charge off was bad debt was 2%, average interest rate was 9 point. When bad debt written off increased, average interest rate increased. Band middle it went through some turbulence anomaly, but is mainly showing in correlation. When interest go up, bad some written debt goes up because there's more risk. If interest rate goes down, is less risk, and that goes down also. But in the middle has been a slight anomaly, but at the end, at the beginning and the finish has gone back to normal. Here, the pivot table is total money given out, the provision for bad debt, and average late payment. And if you look at this table, shows you the highest one is subprime. The maximum bad debt given out was here, £16 million. But the provision is like normal compared to others when it's the highest. Like if you compare it to near prime is less money given out, but it has a higher provision. This hasn't. But if you look at this, there's also near prime is less risky, less late payments compared to subprime. So why we not um near prime making a less provision and increasing subprime? That's what our data shows us. Next thing we're going to be looking at now is T sample. T sample is the average. Basically, we tend to find out if this is a real event or just a chance error. This anomaly of 1.18% difference. And according to our P test we did here and here, it's just a chance error. Now we go into our regression and correlation formula, and it shows us here that our correlation mainly goes as more accounts and more that, right? But if you, I made some notes of it here. The important thing, if you look at this, right? No, about the regression one, the regression does not go in line with provision for bad debt. Doesn't go in line with written off debt. You should also be looking at that, not just how many more accounts. If more getting written off, you should put more money aside. That's why the regression formula is also very important with the correlation. Correlation shows more accounts, more in line with everything increasing. They're doing correlation with accounts, but uh, like reserves for a rainy day to provision should be also aligned with like the delinquency rate or written off bad debt. But that doesn't happen. Now let's look at our dashboard. Dashboard for most money gone out and most money, least money gone out, and under the years like East is the most money, North America was the less money 2022, 2025 it was the North America most money went out and Asia. Here is most written off debt and most interest rate and by region now. Asia near prime is a bad case, subprime is the best case, West SME, MSME. Let's go Europe. Prime is a worst case and near prime is the best case for business. Then let's go here. I made a nice chart for visualization. Average interest rate, always you want the highest here. Then average delinquency is red. That's a warning indicator. Do something before it goes to green. And green is bad debt written off. So you don't want the bad debt. This is time to change it and you always want that. I made it like a here a filter like the credit companies, mortgage, this one, auto car. The bottom four are just unsecured debt. Next is provision coverage. Our money went out ratio to how much money we put aside. According to Bank of England, we want 25%. And here is like 2022 is all good, but for some reason North was saving more money. I don't know if they're going bankrupt or what, but 2025 shows Asia the most stable country with put money aside for rainy day, and this hasn't. And this is a contact page I made just to link it up, make it nice and tidy. So overall, my conclusion is data analysis is very helpful. Basically, the first analysis we do, like using mean and mode, we know roughly average what our targets were. Then, like here, we could find the minimum, maximum sums. Then graphs have don't even need to look at the numbers. You could just look at the graph and understand it. Then part two, we just tidied it up, and we also like correlation. We found out the correlation was it connected to, but we also um found out regression was basically not connected to our provision was not connected to our delinquency rate, so our bad debt wasn't connected to our delinquency rate. And here's all of our pivot tables information here. So basically, it's explaining what we learned from it, what fields we used, what exposure rate, and it goes sort of looking at the big all that chart, and you just trying to analyze it. The pivot tables let us analyze certain key facts, and you could change it, pivot from it. And T sample is just to make sure if it's real or if by chance the data happened. And then again, this data table, key KPIs, best and worst case, and you could change it here, same as here, like year, region, key performance, very good. You want interest rate all high, then late payments are written off, and red ones, late payments, chance before it goes to written off. And you could find a lender and type what type of mortgage, that's good. And here was years, and you want a perfect ratio of 25% according to Bank of England for a rainy day. If the credit cards are going to pay off, so you have 25% to cover it. And for some reason, the rest of this chart has less covering. That's my key finding and conclusions of using analyzing techniques here. Thank you so much. Bye bye.